Assalamualaikum and hello students. We meet again for the third part our lecture video on environmental issue and conservation. And now, in this slide, we want to discuss about the fourth environmental issue that we want to discuss in the chapter number 5 of our course. And then the title belong to the fourth environmental issue we want to discuss about it, which is pesticide and biomagnification. Based on this slide again, pesticide can be defined as chemical substance that can kill pests that attack on our crop in agricultural field. Besides that, 4 types of pesticide that already developed in this world. The first one that we call is insecticide to kill insects, followed by the second one, herbicide to kill weeds. Third, fungicides to kill fungi and mold, and lastly, bactericide to kill bacteria. Okay, next slide, we want to discuss about another term that related about the fourth environmental issue for our course, which is biomagnification. This term can be defined as the increased concentration of toxic chemical substance, such as pesticide, it is passed outward and maximized to the top predator or the food chains. And now, what the factor that can cause this problem? The agricultural pesticides, insecticide, fertilizer, and fungicides. So this is example of the chemical compound or the fossil agent, which is very toxic, that can cause this problem. Okay, and are released into the soil, river, lakes, and sea. This substance contains small amount of heavy metal, okay, such as mercury, arsenic, copper, lead, and cadmium. Now, in this slide, we want to discuss one example of pesticide that is very toxic to environment and can kill any organism in this world as well. So this kind of pesticide that we call DDT, which is short term for the trichloroethanes. So this pesticide produced in 1939, very highly potent and in the type of soluble. Okay, now we want to talk about the effect of DDT on population of bald eagle that live, okay, in Great Lakes that are located in United States of America. Okay, based information that present in this slide, bald eagle feed on fish. They disappear for many reasons. Okay, the example of the reason that can cause the decrease in population for this bird, the first one, loss of habitat, hunting, and toxin in the lake. So the third type of fossil agent that can cause decreasing its population number, we will discuss it in detail in our next slide. Okay, so then let's discuss about the mechanism or process how DDT present in the Great Lake and can cause harmful impact to the population number of bald eagle. Okay, based on figure in this slide, okay, this is the food chain that present in Great Lake, whereby the top predator that present is in this food chain, which is bald eagle, and the lowest or the first tropical level belong to this food chain, which is the plankton. Okay, now, okay, the info related about this figure. DDT was sprayed in the Great Lake to regulate breeding of mosquito. DDT is the non-degradable pesticide which affect the health of the plant as well as animal. Spraying of DDT in the lake will be absorbed by the plankton. Plankton is the plant which is eaten by small fish. Small fish is eaten by large fish, okay, who are eaten later on by the fork or bald eagle. So this is the process. How the DDT can affect the population of DDT in the Great Lake in United States of America. Okay, continue discussion on the effect of DDT on bald eagle population. Okay, so DDT, as I said just now, can cause biomagnification that happen in the Great Lake in United States. So, based on statement belong to this slide, DDT a pesticide to kill mosquito. But okay, besides can kill mosquito, it can also cause the negative impact to the bald eagle population, whereby it affect in terms of the shell that belong to bald eagle, bringing them close to extinction. So this is the factor. Okay, the effect of the DDT, okay, against bald eagle population. Okay, continue discussion about the effect of DDT on organism or to the environment in this world. Wide scale of DDT. Wide scale use of DDT banned in 1972 in Stockholm Convention. Toxic to human, animal when absorbed or swallowed. So this is the factor. Why in 1972, okay, in Stockholm Convention, all scientists in this world they are suggested that DDT better to be banned uses in this world because it's toxic to human and animal and improve can be impact to other organisms that present in this world. Limited use today as disease vector control, and then it can cause whereby the ban usage of this DDT, and it can cause the world population increase back. Now continue our discussion for the environmental issue that related on our Okay, students, let's continue discussion for our environmental issue that happened in this world. Now we want to discuss about the fifth environmental issue, which is entitled endangered and introduced species. Now we talk about the first topic for this lecture, which is endangered animal. So what do we mean by endangered animal here? So endangered animal can be defined as a type of organism that is extinct by extinction. Species become endangered for the two reasons. For example, loss of habitat and loss of their genetic variation. Based on this slide, okay, some of the figures that related about endangered species or animal that present in our country, like tiger, like tapir, like elephant, and orangutan. So this is some example of endangered animal for nation. Okay, now based on this slide, two questions that already arise. Okay, that stated within this slide. The first one, why are endangered animal, they are hunted? They are hunted because of two reasons. The first one, they are hunted due to human activity as food source, and another reason why they are hunted by human. Okay, they are used for the traditional medicinal purposes. So this is two examples of the purpose. Okay, human hunting for this animal for their needs. Okay, based on this figure, for example, like this tiger. Okay, they are hunted due to their body part used in traditional medicinal purposes. And include, for example, this what happened in Japan. Okay, fishermen there in that country, they are hunted whale. They use whale as their food source. Okay, this is two main reasons. Okay, why the endangered species that present in this world, they are become in terms of their number decreasing day by day. Okay, now based on this slide, in terms of this statement, I just read it. Okay, some animals are become very rare, and are treated for extinction. This is the process because of the human activity. Some animals are protected, for example, for bear, rhinoceros, and giant panda. Some are bred in captivity for releasing them in wild later on, so they have the best chance of survival. To save endangered animals, it is necessary to protect their habitat. So this is one of the way how we want to protect the endangered animal. Then to increase to induce the population number can be increased, whereby we can practice this kind of activity whereby we protect their habitat from destruction. They need to live in a balanced community. Each animal species is a member of the team. If one of these disappears, the system may be collapsed. So this is in fact the extinction of the endangered animal or certain group of animals. You can disturb in terms of food chain that present within that certain area or within that ecosystem. Okay, now we want to discuss about the second term related about our fifth environmental issue, which is induced species or induced animal. So in terms of meaning, a species that has been moved by human from its normal habitat to the new habitat, either intentionally or by a mistake, also often referred as invasive species. Okay, now, so what are invasive species? Based on this slide, it describes or stated some characteristics talking about invasive species. Invasive species are Buddhist in nature. They chase out all other native plant and animal. Invasive species include animal, even fish, plant, and microorganisms that are introduced by human action. This is the three examples of characteristics for invasive species when they are present in certain environment whereby it can disturb the survival of natural or native plant or animal that present in certain areas. How to identify invasive species? Okay, the first characteristic the first In terms of method, how we want to identify the invasive species, the first one, invasive species take over an entire area and eliminate biodiversity. The second one, in terms of its identity, belong to the invasive species, they can grow out control, they chase out our native species. The result is monoculture, and lastly, in terms of identity belong to invasive species, they have no natural predator. Now, how we want to control invasive species in terms of the control method. Controlling invasive species, one, they have become established, is difficult. Control is also usually very expensive. There are ways, or methods that invasive species can be eliminated. For example, like prevention, eradicating physical, culture, biological, chemical method, and lastly, integrated pest control. So this is some example of the method or practice that we can apply in terms of to reduce or to manage the presence of invasive species in certain ecosystem or in certain area. Okay, let's continue our discussion about our fifth chapter in the course. Okay, in previous slide we already discussed about 5 examples of environmental issue that become hot topic in this world. Right now we want to discuss about some example of the method that we can use or practice it to control all those environmental issues that we already discussed in previous slide. Now, one of the way how we can manage or control in terms of the impact of environmental issue, which is environmental conservation. So, in terms of meaning belong to this term environmental issue, which is environmental conservation is defined as the preservation of natural resources from loss, waste, or exploitation through rational use and to ensure their availability, and to preserve the quality or the original nature of natural resource. And then information related about is that in regard to environmental conservation, the basic principle of conservation is preserving the environment both as it exists now and by restorative effort into the future. Okay, next slide. We want to discuss about the importance. Okay, what is the need for environmental conservation? The need of environmental conservation, the first one, to conserve the natural resource, to solve the natural and artificial problem, to give quality of the life and sustainable future to the next generation, to protect the conserved biodiversity, next to maintain the balance in nature, and lastly, important of environmental conservation, to maintain the clean, pollution-free air, water, and land. Okay, now, this is one of conservation issue method that we can apply. For example, like recycling. One advantage for this method can save more of resource being used, save the land space that could become the landfill. Okay, next, the method in the conservation, in the environmental conservation method, the second one, which is conservation of the soil. What effect do humans have on soil? Soil is used for agriculture, growing and planting of the crop. For example, planting for the corn and banana plant. Native plants are replaced by this crop. What do crops need to grow? Yeah, surely nutrients to take out the soil when crops are harvested. Soil become deficient when crop take out nutrients that present in soil. So if nutrients are not replaced, soil may be lost its nutrients and maybe not be able to grow any more crops. Okay, students, let's continue about some example of the environmental issue that can be applied to manage the environmental issue. How can we conserve the soil? Okay, crop rotation, for example, how we want to replace or to overcome the problem about the lacking of nutrients that present in soil. Okay, crop rotation, changing the type of the crop so more nutrients stay in the soil, and lastly, we can put fertilizer inside the soil to increase its nutrient content, using the fertilizer in the type of compost or chemical. Okay, now conservation of the soil, erosion. Soil may be removed by the wind or water. Related to the type of farming and management of the soil, we must prepare the land for the crop by special method to reduce the erosion, for example, terracing and seed cropping. Okay, now we want to talk about example of other method in environmental conservation. Now we want to discuss about conservation of wildlife. Protecting wildlife species, both animal and plant, extinct and endangered species. Why should we protect all of these? Okay, animal and plant. Okay, that present in our in nature.